Hello everybody. Today we're looking at making functions for our objects in C Sharp. So in the last video we worked on making this in the code, so you can see all our code that is rendering these objects. So yeah, and at the moment it's not functional because if we put these in and then calculate, we haven't set it up to do that. We just put button pressed. Console.write lines and stuff. So first off, I'm going to get rid of this because that's the last thing we had in the last video. And now we have a completely blank storyboard essentially. So we don't need to look at that at all anymore really. So now what we've got down here is we've got our actions for what we had before with the storyboard. But now we need to change this so it is using our functions that we have. So we need to make some new functions for this. So here we can see we've got these various activated, which is essentially when the button's pressed. Then we're going to do this event. So what we can put in here instead is our add function. Then we need to make an add function. But this is going to help with using our add function. So yeah, what we actually want in here though is not a function. We just want to update a state of which sort of thing it's going to be. So what we can put above these radio buttons is let's have a integer of let's say it's maths or something. Yeah, which maths function we want to do. So initially we set it to 0. And then what we need to do for this is we need to set the add button to be used initially. So what we can do is quickly look over here and see what we need to do this. So if we go into a radio button, then we can see here we have something called state. So if we set the state to on, then the radio button is going to be on. So if we go back here, we want to set state or look for things that are called state. And then we're going to set the state equal to nscell state value dot on. And that means our initial button is going to be add. And then if we do this, we're going to set maths is equal to 0. But we're going to change this throughout. So here maths is going to be equal to 1. Here maths is going to be equal to 2. And here maths is going to be equal to 3. Okay, great. And here is where we want our actual function to be. So we're going to say calculation. Oh, it's not quite yet. Calculation button. And then here we need to actually define that. So we'll do that down here. We can say private void because we're not going to return anything in the function specifically. Then we're going to call it calculation button. And then do we need to pass in anything? That's the other question. The answer in this instance is no, because we can access it all from the scope of the project already. Okay, so we have our function here now. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the value of maths. So if maths is, and we need to put this in if in brackets, maths is equal to 0, then we're going to do something. The name maths does not exist in the current context. So it looks like we might need to pass in here maths, which is an int maths. Okay, let's try that. If maths is equal to 0, then we're going to do the addition. So we can look here, or we can even look down here and see where is our add addition sort of thing. We have our action here, and yeah, here. This is what we did before. So we can copy this one and paste it in there. And then we need to check here. We need to set on num1 and num2. Num1, int num1 is equal to num1 text input. Text. I think that's it. So we'll also need to pass in that as well, I think. So string num1 input, and then we can get rid of this little bit. And then here we can say convert to int 16. And then we can do the same with num2. But here we need to make sure it is actually num2. So we're putting in maths, and then num1 text input, and then num2 text input. And here we got an error, cannot convert from ns text field to string. Okay, so this is actually an ns text field. And then here what we need to say is dot to string. Or not dot to string, dot string value, sorry. String value. Okay, nice. And then also we have our set text function not working anymore because it's in here. So here we have it there. And we need to set it to the new label. It is info label, but we'll give like that. And it doesn't exist in the current context. So yeah, what we can do is we need to check the state of these to check why it wouldn't work. And here we have ns text field info label. So what we can also do is ns text field info label here. And then when we do set text, we're gonna pass in our info label, which means we also need it here. Okay. And then, yeah, when we're calling this, we need to set info label as well. There we go. So we're setting that text, and Let's try that and see if it works, and if not, see why it isn't working. So we have addition is set automatically. That's good. And then we can try 5 and 3. And that's 8, and that is working. That's good. Then 7 and 3, 10. If we do subtract though, we don't have it currently running, but it should skip over this code of maths is equal to 0, and we should just have the same state of 10. Let's just change that to 1 as well. Yeah, so there's no change here, which is good. So now here what we want to do is we want to say basically the same thing, but it's going to be else if. Else if, and then maths, not quite. Maths is equal to 1. Not sure why it keeps correcting me. Maths is equal to 1, and then we're going to do num1 minus num2. And then here we're going to do else if f is equal to 2. Then we're going to do multiply. There we go. And then finally we're going to do else if maths is equal to 3. Then we're going to do set text. Convert dot to string num1 divided by num2. And then we're going to say also pass in our info label. Okay, let's try this, and then we'll look back at why it isn't quite working as well, because there is a reason. So here we have addition. We can do 5 and 1. That gives us 6. That's working great. 5 minus 1 is going to give us 4. 5 multiplied by 5 is going to give us 25. But then if we do 6 divided by 5, we're going to get 1, which we want to get 1 remainder 1, or 1 and a fraction, which we're not doing. So before, what we did to fix this was we went down here and we added in here the modulus function. So we said plus remainder and then plus num1 modulus num2. So that is one way that we can do it if we want to. The other way would be to set this instead when we have here, when we have here, we're converting this to an int. So what we can do is convert this to a float or a double. So if we try that now to decimal, so we can't convert type decimal to int. It's saying, are you missing a cast? Huh, that's interesting. What we can try is double I think that's the other one. Okay, so what we have here is we're trying to convert from a string to a double. Let me check this quickly. Okay. This should be working actually. But what we have is our string value here. And then we have num1, num2, num1 plus num2. All we do for now then is we will just set this back to what it was before. And then what we can do is just say is that plus, and then we can say remainder. And then plus num1 modulus, which is this percentage symbol, num2. And then if we look at this, we should have it working. Okay, so if we put 43, fine, and 3, we should get a value of 14 and 1, I think. Yeah, 14, remainder 1. So this is almost finished, except I want to change this not to show a label at the start, because I think that will look slightly better. Okay, nice. And now we can put 34 and 3, and we get this, and subtract them, multiply them, divide them. So yeah, thank you for watching this video on adding functionality to our C# code in Xcode. I hope it was helpful. See you in the next video.